Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes. Počkejte, ale tady nemůžu video pustit, že ještě nejsem puštěný.
But the camera is not working.
The camera is not working.
Kamera is not working. Už tak to pustí, jo. Ať to pustí, jo. Už to běží. To už to asi je puštěný. Jo. Už je to puštěný, jo.
No, it is.
Yeah. Že včas začneme, dejte jí běžit, že jdeme na to. Dear friends, dear colleagues, Your Excellencies, ambassadors, countries from our alliance in Czech Republic, representative of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, it's a great honor at the end of the whole day for the annual meeting, General Assembly, Governing Board of our European Alliance for EU+, which is hosted here in Prague. For our guests from society, I would like a little bit shortly introduce our alliance starting a story 3 years ago with Heidelberg, Sorbonne initiatives to Prague, Charles and Warsaw University. And after we also put together with University of Copenhagen and University of Milano, and we preparing the application, and we are successful in the first run. And last year we have the first birthday party and the General Assembly organized by Jean Chamba, Sorbonne University, and we now have a 1 year as European University Alliance, but we working more years before and preparing some activities. We prepare some 4 main topics, 4 flagships, which is focusing on I see the priorities in the Europe, health and demographic changes in an urban environment, transforming the science and society by advancing information, computation, and communications, Europe in the changing world, understanding and engaging society, economies, cultures, languages, and of course, biodiversity and sustainable development, which is a very hot topic, not only for Europe, but on the whole world. It's my short introduction talk at the beginning of our open public session. And now I would like to ask the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Czech Republic, Mr. Tomáš Petříček, for his kind words.
Guests, it is my extraordinary pleasure and honor to greet all of you at the occasion of the annual meeting of 4EU+. Unfortunately, the ongoing pandemics has made it impossible to host you at the Černý Palace, the premises of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as originally planned. However, I'm very proud that the Czech Diplomatic Service has contributed to the preparations of this important event. As diplomats, we fully endorse the main objectives of the 4EU+ initiatives, such as enhancing creativity and innovation, raising awareness regarding global issues and challenges, promoting active European citizenship, social cohesion, and therefore resilience of our societies. We appreciate that our largest and oldest university joined the initiative and forged partnership with 5 other prestigious European universities. Charles University is a traditional and highly esteemed partner of the Czech Foreign Ministry. Czech Embassy support international activities of Czech academics and researchers and their international counterparts, including outgoing and incoming missions, networking events, workshops, and mobility programs. Let me just mention that 2 months ago, the Czernin Palace hosted a large Czech-Dutch-German conference on technology transfer in life sciences and healthcare. The MFA and Charles University were among the organizers. That even is supposed to launch a long-term program called Collaborations for the Future that should facilitate exchanges of experience and best practices in the area that is critical for our future growth and prosperity, namely commercialization of knowledge and know-how that is being developed by research at universities. The COVID-19 pandemic has made it, once again, clear how important is the role universities and research centers play in our societies. It has also reconfirmed that they also build bridges for international collaboration in addressing the social needs. In this context, I would like to welcome the proposal put forward by the Charles University that the 4EU+ become a core group for the development of Eastern Partnership University Cluster. This project will substantially enrich existing cooperation between the EU and countries in Eastern Europe by creating more opportunities for students and professors' mobility and bringing research capabilities of our Eastern neighbors closer to European research on a win-win basis. In doing so, it will boost our common vision of education that supports basic European values of freedom and democracy, creativity and innovation, solidarity and partnerships across the borders. This initiative will be an important stimulus for elaboration of new EU strategic priorities of the Eastern Partnership. Today's gathering could be a useful opportunity to discuss this topic. Why is international collaboration between universities so important for foreign policy? The obvious reason is that high-quality education enables us to be open to each other, to treat other people as equal and with respect to their narratives. It fosters the capability and willingness to listen to partners and to understand their experience. Therefore, it is a very important asset, possibly now more important than ever before. The COVID-19 pandemic that has hit us so hard is a very strong reminder that we have to believe in science and appreciate evidence based on variable facts. In our globalized world, it is important that we communicate in a way that is based on established data and free from manipulations. The 4EU+ initiative aims at this direction. We cannot prepare for new crises and disruptive challenges in advance, while most of them are difficult to predict. Nevertheless, our societies and economies should be more resilient in the future. We can achieve this only when our people, namely the younger generations, are able to think critically and challenge misinformation, fake news, and alternative facts. Politicians, opinion makers, respected academics, intellectuals, artists, representatives of civil society, all of us have a part to play in this regard. However, we cannot achieve a resilient and vibrant society unless we will build on a high-quality education. There is a broad agreement that the COVID-19 pandemic has changed the education system, when asserting that experts usually refer to the digital transformation. However, technological and structural changes of learning and teaching are not the whole story. We must not lose sight of the quality that matters most, the very substance and objective of the education itself. Therefore, the activities of the 4EU+ are critically important. Dear colleagues, unfortunately, due to other engagements, I will not be able to participate at the deliberations of our event. However, my special envoy for science diplomacy, Dr. Petr Kaiser, will replace me and report to me later. Let me wish all of you a very successful event. Please be reassured of my full support to your important mission. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, His Excellency, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, for your support not only for the Alliance but also for long-term cooperation in the different events and activities in Czech Republic in a foreign. Now I would like to invite the Deputy Minister of Education, Youth and Science, Dr. Václav Velčovský, for his words. Václav.
Directors, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to have the opportunity to participate in the 4EU Plus Alliance annual meeting today on behalf of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sports of the Czech Republic. Even more, on the eve of November the 17th, a feast so important for freedom, democracy, and the role of education in them. Democracy and freedom are fragile. However, fragility is not a negative trait. It is a valued, refined, and cared for property that we are obliged to defend. Let us not be told that fragility is something bad and that is why we should get rid of it. Quite the opposite. The Czech ministry has been a strong proponent of the European University initiative since the beginning of its idea, which is dated back to the end of 2017, and that is why we welcome the success of two Czech higher education institutions, Charles University in 4EU Plus Alliance and Masaryk University in the European Digital University in the first pilot call. Since 2018, the ministry has financially supported the Czech universities in the alliances via the indicator aimed at the international cooperation. And I would like to highlight that this year the amount of funding has even increased. Let me stress some positive aspects of the European University Alliance. Firstly, the ministry considers your project as highly beneficial for the students as it enables them to gain an international education which gives them a competitive advantage in the global labor market. The other added value of 4EU Plus Alliance is in deepening the knowledge and strengthening the research cooperation across borders, disciplines and cultures which help our society to be able to face current health, social, economical, technological and environmental challenges. I'm also glad that 4EU Plus Alliance acts quickly in fighting against COVID-19 pandemic and mobilizes its forces and maximizes synergies in different areas of research and education to react to the current difficulties linked to the crisis and is very active in volunteering activities. These actions are highly appreciated by the Ministry of Education. I wish the 4EU Plus Alliance very fruitful meeting and enriching discussion today. I'm looking forward to your outcomes in the future, of you as pillars of freedom, democracy, and education. Thank you very much for your attention.
Deputy Minister, Dr. Wojciechowski, thank you very much for your kind words and also for support from Ministry for participation the Czech universities in the alliances. In the second call, it's also the two other universities, Czech Technical and University of Palacký are members of the new alliances, and thank also for the support in the future. Now I would like to ask for greeting the ambassadors for the countries which participating on the alliance, and I would like His Excellency Christoph Israng, Ambassador of Germany in Prague, in Czech Republic. Your Excellency. Yeah.
Microphone.
Yeah, microphone, please. Or Your Excellency, Christoph Israng, we saw you. No, now. Can you try the microphone and video? We not see you and hearing you.
Herr Israng, ich sehe Sie, aber wir hören Sie nicht.
No, because I saw the name that it's connected with a microphone and also video, but maybe we should call him and now if it's not yet the connectivity between our embassy of Germany in Prague. Hello? Maybe we will call him, and I would like to ask His Excellency Alexis Duterte, the ambassador of France in Prague. I believe that now we will successful. Bonsoir.
Bonsoir, j'espère que ça marche et que vous m'entendez. I hope so. Dear Mr. Minister, Mrs. Commissioner, Mr. Rector, ladies and gentlemen, it's really a great pleasure for me as a newcomer in Prague to participate in this annual meeting of the 4EU Plus Alliance. As you know, the European Universities Initiative stems from President Macron's speech delivered at the Sorbonne in September 2017, where he proposed to create at least 20 European universities by 2024. Indeed, the universities can provide the proper framework to go beyond what has been accomplished so far through existing European tools, such as, of course, Erasmus, well known, and become drivers of educational innovation and the quest for excellence, and thus contribute to a stronger Europe, open to the world, proud of its shared values, and home to a new generation of Europeans. Now, 41 universities alliances have been selected and are rolling out their ambitious programs. French universities are involved in 28 of these projects. We are very pleased to mention that 3 French universities, 3 of them European universities, include both Czech and French higher education institutions. Of course, for EU Plus with the Sorbonne University, but also EDUC and also Eurotech Engineering University. I wish to congratulate all the 4 EU Plus partner universities for their commitment to this highly innovative, demanding and transformative project, which targets all university communities, fosters long-needed, stronger connections with the outside world. I also like to mention, I'm happy to see that our international research laboratory in social sciences based in Prague, the CEFRES, le Centre Européen de Recherche en Sciences Sociales, is directly involved in partnership with the Charles University, as well as through a working group dedicated to Francophonie in this project. I also like to stress that the 4EU Plus Alliance project directly contributes to reaching the EU's strategic agenda for 2019 to 2024. And I think this is very important to stress that the Alliance is connected to the EU agenda. Mainly, I would mention 3 topics. The first one is the EU Green Deal. And clearly, by proposing to tackle issues of sustainability, especially related to the urbanization of society, you contribute to this. The second one is Europe fit for the digital age. And indeed, again, by incorporating model-based data science as a cross-discipline and incorporating this competence in all students' curricula, you contribute to this. And last but not least, promoting the European way of life. And I think that providing comprehensive understanding in the concept of Europeanness makes it really another important topic for your action. As a conclusion, we really count on 4EU+. I would say to further and support moving this agenda forward, particularly in the run-up to the Czech and French presidency of the Council of the European Union in 2022. And also, if I can add one point, I think the participation of European university alliances in the debate on the conference on the future of the EU will also be instrumental and is very much awaited. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, thank you very much for your kind words and also for the initiative starting the European universities done by President Macron on Sorbonne at the beginning of this partnership. Now I would like to ask His Excellency Francesco Saviero Nisio, Ambassador of Italy in Czech Republic in Prague. Your Excellency, please.
Here I am. I hope you hear me.
Yes.
Great. Well, Mr. Minister, Deputy Minister, magnificent rectors, and dear colleagues and distinguished guests of this quite important gathering. Well, I would have preferred very much to celebrate the 4EU+ presidency of the Charles University in person, maybe in its historical Aula Magna. Alas, we have to cope with this unbelievable moment, this pandemic situation. We have to limit ourselves to a virtual gathering. It's a pity. It's a pity because it would have been a great occasion to talk, looking into the eyes of the young people, those who are the future of all that. I would like to commend, by the way, the Charles University, Università di Milano, and other members of the European University Alliance for their efforts in further raising the quality of higher education at the EU level. Sharing academic experiences and historical and cultural backgrounds, together with a better direct knowledge of various interlocutors, enhance a common approach to a multitude of fields and prepare the younger generations to feel more European. Now, Europe needs it if we want to keep our leading role in the development of culture. As noble as this purpose is in normal circumstances, it acquires an additional, quite special meaning in these times of crisis, where the role of research and knowledge is so apparent and yet so often overlooked. I have just received the data on the Italian Erasmus students currently in the Czech Republic, and I was quite sad to read that the current presence is 44% lower than the average. It's not a surprise, obviously, in the current situation, but it's a painful blow, nevertheless, for our generation of young adults for whom a period of study in a European university is a life milestone. So I believe, and I very strongly wish, that those gloomy times will be replaced by a new multinational common approach to a multitude of fields and prepare the younger generations to feel more European. I hope that it will soon become a sort of new renaissance and that the extraordinary success of the European Cultural Program will be on track soon again. So I can only praise the light that 4EU+ can shed on these somber days and wish all the possible success to its annual meeting and to the Charles University. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Muchas gracias for your kind words and also supported this alliance. I have an apology from Chargé d'Affaires of the Embassy of Poland and the Ambassador of Denmark. And now we should try to connect His Excellency Ambassador of Germany in Prague, Christoph Frank. We are
Can you understand me now?
Yes, great.
Yes, finally.
Yeah, finally it's done. Yeah.
Magnificentia. Thank you very much, Professor Zimmer, for giving me the floor. I guess most of my speaking time has already elapsed, so I will try to be quite short. As a representative of the EU Council presidency, as you know, Germany is holding the presidency, I'm very much honored to be a witness of this meeting of the 4EU+ Alliance, which really is a landmark project of the European Union in the area of science and education. The desired profile of a 4EU+ graduate is an open-minded, multilingual personality with entrepreneurial spirit, a critical mind, data literate, and socially engaged person. And that is exactly what we need today and tomorrow in an environment that is changing, that is demanding lifelong learning. As a German ambassador, I'm very happy that the whole project includes German universities. There are actually 34 German universities involved in the 41 already established European university alliances. And of course, I'm very happy to see the University of Heidelberg as part of the very prestigious 4EU+ Alliance, which actually encompasses the most prestigious universities from 6 different countries. I wish you all the best for this conference and also for planning the next year. And I hope that we can all meet again in better circumstances and well, getting ready for the future. And the challenges of today is also, of course, a task that we have to face as an embassy to make sure that we are better connected next time you give us the floor. Sorry for the problems we had at the beginning. All the best.
Your Excellency, it's not a problem. It's a technical issues which we sorted out immediately, and thank you also for support and cooperation between all embassies in Prague, not only for Alliance 4EU+, but also in the other issues, meetings, and other activities. Now I would like to ask Professor Jean Chambas, the president of Sorbonne University, to inform us of achievements of 4EU+ in this year. Jean.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. Excellencies, dear students, dear colleagues, 4EU+ has a wonderful ambition. But it's time now to measure what has been really achieved during this year. Despite the pandemic, 4EU+ has now moved from an abstract concept to a reality. It offers new opportunities for collaboration, and the communities of our 6 universities are now fully engaged and using the Alliance along with our institutional and private partners. Overall, in the academic year 2019-2020, more than 300 students participated in the 4EU+ online and in-person activities despite the pandemic, and nearly 80 joint research and education project proposals were submitted. More than 300 members of academic staff were involved in the implementation of joint education and research projects. Our research and education activities are all within our 4 flagships: health and demographic change, Europe in a changing world, information, computation and communication, and biodiversity and sustainable development. Those flagships tackle some of the most important challenges facing Europe and the world today. The flagships have been deployed, each with a committee to ensure proper implementation. They will have a key role in selecting projects that fit our common goals to tackle some of the most important societal and economic challenges. In our first 4EU+ call for joint educational project, 51 projects were submitted and 31 were funded. These projects cover a wide variety of disciplines and subjects, from language to artificial intelligence, humanities, medical sciences, and sustainable development. They represent the diverse strength of the 4EU+ community. Implementing these projects will be an important step towards building a joint education framework for the Alliance. This is what 4EU Plus is all about. Joint initiatives by our researchers, professors, and staff to provide excellent international research-based education and research together. Some of these projects specifically promote blended and hybrid mobility, which can continue without interruption, even during the pandemic. Although COVID-19 slowed us down, our teams are adapting quickly and keep enthusiasm. We are rapidly developing alternative forms of mobility. The capacity built now will continue to be useful as we seamlessly integrate hybrid mobility in our programs. The framework of the Alliance has taken shape. We have established the governance of the 4EU Plus, and we are dividing work programs, work package, and task forces to facilitate the implementation. We established local 4EU Plus offices at member universities and organized meetings to keep our communities informed and involved. The point of all this is to facilitate collaboration, to make sure that joint education and research projects can come to fruition without the usual bureaucratic and material obstacles. That's why our administrative staff and support staffs are key, and they are very much involved in building 4EU Plus. Organizing mobility and cooperation opportunities for them is our next step. As you can see, the implementation of the 4EU Plus agenda, including the implementation of the 4EU Plus Erasmus project, is well underway, and I am confident we will achieve the goals we set for ourselves in the first 3 years. We're on track to build a complete university alliance based on research and education, with a full involvement of our support staff and administrative staff. The success of our Train 4EU Plus project at the DGRI will help reinforce our comprehensive vision of our alliance based on our strong belief that world-class education is funded on world-class research. The current budget of the alliance is still modest, 17 million euros, made by a third from the Commission programs, another from our government, and the last third on our own. Because the 4EU Plus Alliance is not a side project, but core to our own strategies, we will seek more funding at local, national, and European levels to support our efforts in research and research-based education. Dear Vanessa and Leah, you can expect many proposals for our network in all the available calls from DGAC, DGRI, and other DGs. On that note, let me say how disappointed we are with the decision of the European Council about the Union budget. It is the worst signal it could have been done to cut research and education funds, while Europe's future and competitiveness depends on the vitality of these sectors. What a lack of ambition. What a misunderstanding of the ways of recovery of European economy, and what a dramatic signal given to our youth. Anyway, 4EU Plus members remain dedicated to building up Europe, and for that means strengthening the European knowledge area. We also reaffirm our commitment to the free movement of students, professors, and staff within the EU. The Schengen area, a pillar of European integration, is being questioned by populists everywhere in Europe. These inward-looking tendencies are dangerous. Higher education and research institutions, by nature, are the best vehicles to disseminate openness and solidarity. We are committed to international world-class education, because the citizens of tomorrow need an international perspective. They need to understand different cultures. They need to develop critical thinking skills. They need to speak several languages. More than ever, we need young people with open minds and sharp minds. That's why we promote multilingualism, data literacy, critical thinking, social engagement, and entrepreneurship to shape the next generation of responsible, active European citizens. That's why within 4EU+, we want to make mobility as easy as possible. For example, we have recently agreed on a joint housing guarantee for exchange students within 4EU+. Housing is a substantial obstacle for mobility, especially for low-income students, even more so in large urban cities. We are removing that obstacle. The pandemic is another obstacle to mobility, as I said, but we are finding ways around with hybrid and digital mobility. I would conclude by saying that 4EU+ was born from a need for cooperation to reaffirm our commitment to the free, to the free movement of ideas and people, and to make it a reality. And despite some exceptionally hard conditions this year, I would modestly conclude that we are succeeding. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jean. We changed the moderation now. So this is now my turn, but during our governing board in the morning, the chairmanship of 4EU+ came from Sorbonne, from Jean Chambas, to Charles University, to Professor Tomáš Zima, the rector. And I will ask him to tell us more about priorities of 4EU+ under the chairmanship of Charles University. Thank you very much.
Your Excellencies, rectors, dear colleagues, students, dear friends, it's a great honor for me to starting, and thanks for the trust me to chair for 1 year our Alliance. And I will show you our 3 priorities for this year's. It is for the guest presidencies based on the rotation principle for 1 year, and next autumn it will be moved to Heidelberg to Bernard Aito. We focusing on the 3 priorities for the next years, which starting now. It is the finalization of institutional architecture of 4EU+, education and research without barrier, with some projects and working on it. It's a continuous business, as mentioned by Jean Chambas, and also more involve the students to all levels of our Alliance. If you're looking for the first priority as a finalization of institutional architecture, it is starting with integration of academic council and advisory board into work in our government structure. The academic council, it is starting today. I have a first meeting which was at 2 p.m. today by the representative of staff, professors and students. This morning we decided that its academic council will be enlarged of 1 PhD students of each university, and it's maybe the guarantee for the environment and students part of this architecture. The second, it is a formation, the working groups or teams for vice rectors and vice presidents for education and research of each universities, which is discussed and sorted out. Sorted out these areas for project in the research and education areas, and also starting with the priorities for the next 6 months. And finally, it is a discussion about the legal entity we decided today on the board that we will go for the 4EU Plus associations starting, and thanks very much to Bernard and colleagues from Heidelberg to preparing the instrument or ecosystem where all the universities is accepted, and there is also developing the Secretary General office and call for the new Secretary General as a managing part of our alliance, and the call for the new Secretary General will be announced during the few weeks. The education and research, it is in some part. The first one, it is online courses and training. Now we are more experienced due to the pandemic situation than the last year. We are working hard on the recognition of study and training achievements between our universities, including the free movement of PhD students, which is a little bit more simple topic on it. We're discussing the concept of bridge professors between our universities, sharing the expertise, have a lecture face-to-face or distance. And it's also influence the situation to the mobilities, and we should make some operationalization on virtual or blended mobilities between our alliance due to this situation. And we must be optimistic that in the near future we will coming back to face-to-face and Erasmus Plus instruments to visiting each other's between our alliance. The research without barriers, it's a topic to support some research teams. We discuss some seed fundings, which is starting on Charles University 1.5 years ago for mini grants. Now we will have a launch, the third call for proposals. It is preparing the teams for our members for preparing the big projects in the near future by the Horizon or other instrument by EU or other scientific funding funds. And Warsaw University, it's a launch also the mini grant this year. For the education, we have the first call for the joint educational proposal. The second one will be launched in January 21, and the application form will be available online for easy access to our academics. There is put some proposal for the new educational instruments or sharing some expertise or preparing the new curricula or new subjects. We discussed this during the General Assembly about the board on involvement of the students. We decided that the one PhD students will be more in academic council, not only one student per university, but two. It is decision from for the morning. These days, when we plan the meeting of our alliance, it's tightly connected to the 17th November, International Students' Day, connected to the history of Czech Republic, when it's in 1939 was closed the Czech universities, and in November 1989, on the same place, starting the Velvet Revolution by the students and starting the new history of our country. But we will also tomorrow celebrate this day in a silence and piet in these places in Prague, in Albertov, Žitná ulice, Ruzině Kaserne, or Hlávka dormitories. We like to touch the students involved in the governing structure. We should discuss if some representative should be some advisor or should some involved in the board. Definitely, we need the students in the project and all activities. and also by the different media and different social networks, inform the platforms flowing the information to each of our students. And finally, we must prepare some mechanism supporting the students' activities and initiative, which was growing up during our daily life. What's in 4U plus? For you, it is I think it's a possibility of networking the best researchers and teachers together. It is get a seed funding for a new cooperation between these 6 leading universities in Europe. Possibility to have a better students saying the new project, new approaches in innovative educational system from our universities and sharing the best practice. And it's also for students to get the experiences for innovative projects, summer schools, and also some culture events, which also are sport events, which was organized in past, and I believe that there will be also in the near future. And I think that all of you and all of you be part of our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tomáš, for your presentation. We have invited the Commissioner, Maria Gabriel. Unfortunately, she is not present with us, but in fact, we are all online, and she sent her address. So please, if we can listen to that.
Gentlemen, I would like to extend my warmest greetings to everyone gathered today for the second annual meeting of the 4EU Plus European University Alliance. In recent months, the education systems in Europe have gone through a difficult period due to the COVID-19 pandemic. I believe that we are at a defining moment for all of us, and especially for you as role models for the higher education community. We need to turn the challenges we face into opportunities. European University Alliances are symbols of breaking down barriers and uniting with a great purpose. In your case, 6 comprehensive, research-intensive public universities from 4 different regions of Europe have come together to create a true European University Alliance. An alliance where students from different countries and disciplines can work together with the academics, researchers, local business and civil society to find solutions to the challenges of the 21st century in Europe and beyond. I'm particularly pleased to see that your alliance focuses on boosting meaningful mobility, building a challenge-based framework for education, and very importantly, on increasing inclusion in education. Combining excellence and inclusion is at the heart of this game-changing initiative, and there can be no creativity without diversity. My team and I are here to support you in achieving your vision. This support comes through our policy initiatives. We'll work with you, the member states, and the wider higher education community to co-create a European degree, explore the feasibility of a European statute for university alliances, and modernize the quality assurance systems to better fit with the new forms of learning and training that you are developing. This will benefit all higher education institutions in Europe, and you are the role models in the transformation towards the universities of the future. To shape this transformation agenda, we'll launch an online public consultation complemented with targeted consultation events. I'm also strongly committed to the key role of universities in providing lifelong learning opportunities to all, at all stages of their career. In order to build a resilient Europe, higher education institutions are key to upskilling and reskilling their graduates and other professionals, and to equipping them with the future-oriented competencies that society needs. This is why I will propose a series of actions towards the implementation of a European approach to micro-credentials. These actions will promote the further take-up, storage, validation, and recognition of short learning modules delivered on-site or online in the context of lifelong learning. We'll also continue to work hand in hand with national governments to promote structural reforms and remove financial and legal obstacles to learning mobility and deeper cooperation, including in the area of recognition of diplomas and learning periods abroad. And I know that funding is also key. That is why the Commission is working on better connecting the new Erasmus Plus and Horizon Europe programs in synergy with other European financial instruments to best support you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm aware of how much ambition, energy, effort, and time it requires to build such a European university, especially in the current global context. Therefore, let me express how much I appreciate the hard work that all your staff and students are putting into this initiative. You really embody the 4 missions of university: education, research, innovation, and service to society. I wish you lots of success in further developing for EU+. Thank you.
We also thank Commissioner, and we hope Apostolia and also Vanessa will pass our greetings. And I hope that some questions and appeals of Jean were answered. When we were preparing today's program, in fact, we were preparing that 3 times. First was for physical meeting, second was for blended meeting, and then we had to go completely online. And we wanted the venture to be more exciting, more vivid. And in the morning, during the meeting of the governing board, there were also 3 meetings of micro think tank sessions. And I would like to ask my colleagues from the management committee, Vice Rector International from University of Milano, Antonella, and instead of Sambor Grucha from Warsaw University, his proxy, Joanna Osiewicz, to present what was debated by the students, staff, and academics in the morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Leica, for your introduction. And it is with great pleasure that I introduce 3 our students to report about the think tank that took place this morning. I understood that participation to the think tank was really a success. It was satisfactory, and discussion on various topics were very active and lively, thanks also to the use of polls, breakout rooms, interviews. Therefore, it is very, I think that we do not have much time, so I think that I would like to go directly to introduce our students. And the first one is Jonathan Juarez Altuzar. He will report about the first micro think tank, just wishful thinking, the claim of synergy between research and teaching in 4U+. Please, Jonathan.
Good afternoon, Excellencies, colleagues, participants, and people who are watching us right now on YouTube. Thank you very much for the short introduction. This morning, together with Dr. Anne Sommer, also from Heidelberg University, we chaired the Micro Think Tank Session 1. So as learning outcomes from this think tank, participants are able now to describe the best practice examples of synergies between research, learning, or teaching among 4EU+ universities. They can identify the main challenges, they can formulate their own personal vision of the synergy to reflect the role of the 4EU+ in promoting the synergy, and to plan measures for further enhanced research-based learning at their universities. Participants were asked to rank accordingly to their ideologies if they believe on a fruitful synergy and how experienced are they with research-based teaching or learning. As a first result, we can see that the majority believes in this synergy, although not having enough experience. Next, we proceeded asking participants, to me, research means, to me, learning means. We had this writing exercise since we know that what it means for us, but we are not sure if everyone has the same concept. Participants agreed mostly that research means to create knowledge and finding solutions in the respective field of research, while learning means to formulate questions and getting answers to them, and that it is the basis of development of individuals. Next slide, please. At our home university, do we have best practice examples? What are the main challenges of combining research and teaching or learning? For the best practices, there is a student involvement through practical activities such as hackathon, winter or summer schools, which some of them are a part within the 4EU+ framework. On the main challenges, the question that popped up the most was, how can we introduce early research, for example, at the bachelor level? Here there are some other challenges such as the cost issues for teaching, equipment, consumables, and most important, student engagement. Next slide, please. Then we kindly ask participants to complete the following sentence. In an ideal world, the nexus of research and teaching or learning at my university is systematic and across all disciplines, will be compulsory. And here in this point, also participants agreed mostly that it should start at the beginning of the studies. Next slide, please. And last but not least, what are the main obstacles towards this vision? How the 4EU+ can make a difference? From the following image, we can see that time, communication, personal, among others, are major obstacles towards this vision. We believe that the 4EU+ can help by overcoming cultural differences. For example, in some countries, early stage students are not included in research due to a hierarchical structure. On promoting interdisciplinary research, we now live on a globalized world where all disciplines require of each other to better understand or overcome problems. Organizing workshops, what is research-based teaching or learning for teachers and students, raising awareness that is dedicated to sensitize students, professors about different areas of research, enhancing scientific communication or outreach, make science understandable, but as well fun for all society. Revising curricula, integrating research-based teaching formats, awards for research-based teaching, and establishing a network to promote ideas. For example, online journals to disseminate best practices, experiences, part of a formal, informal network. In this case, for example, videos, an online platform, and yeah, that will be all from my side. With this slide, well, I would like to thank you all for the attention and as well for the participation during the micro think tank #1. Thank you.
Thanks to you, and especially in so few minutes, you kept the time very well, and you show us how important an early exposure to research during university life, and also some very good practice that we can follow. And now is the time of the second student, Eliška Černovská from Charles University. She will report about the second micro think tank for you plus in Europe. Can for you plus make us better Europeans? Can for you plus strengthen Europe, and should it? If yes, how? How many questions? So Eliška, you have to cope with them, please.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. It is my pleasure to present you the results of the micro-think number 2 about 4EU Plus and Europe. And firstly, let me to show you these two word clouds that I think kind of nicely summarize the debate, the first part of the debate within the micro-think tanks. Because we discussed, first of all, what does 4EU Plus mean in the context of Europe? For the participants in a micro-think tank, and also what does Europeanness mean to all these participants. And all these issues that you can see in a screen kind of nicely illustrate our debate, what we tried to tackle and discuss actually. However, the second part of the micro-think tank was more concrete, and we wanted to design the two joint courses, if I may. Perfect, thank you. 4EU Plus joint courses that were discussed within breakout groups, and which is surprising that even though they were discussed separately, there are a lot of common features actually, and I think that we can really somehow learn from it in a way. The first of all is that the more 4EU Plus universities are involved, the better. In a way, to have really intercultural and interdisciplinary rich discussion with participants, with academics, but of course with students throughout social sciences, hard sciences, technologies, and so on and so forth, in order to have kind of like a holistic perspective to a certain issue. And it will allow us to share knowledge and comprehension from really different, with people from different backgrounds, and which we believe will support the tolerance and respect in a way between Europeans, right? And last but not least, common feature is a big focus on a student side. Really, the courses are supposed to be built or created by students. So this is something I wanted to stress as a common features. And to be even more concrete, there were two courses proposed on multilingualism and European citizenship. The first one was really, there was an idea to make really students to teach their native languages in a way, and also to teach them about linguistic differences, linguistic meaning about the same phenomenon, linguistic policies towards various issues such as minorities. And so really to make it students to students. As for the European citizenship course, the debate agreed on to do it as a think tank course, meaning really to put an emphasis on a discussion among participants that would be surrounded around several issues, not only what kind of definition the citizenship is in academic terms, but also what does it really mean for students, for participants, what does it represent to them, what are the obstacles, and so on and so forth. And a huge part of the course was designed around several issues such as historical events or controversial issues that can be really discussed from different angles, different perspectives with people from different background, culture, and disciplinary. And so there were many questions, but we kind of tried to have a central question, which would be how can 4EU Plus strengthen the Europe? And the answer what we would propose is that the joint courses are an option to strengthen the Europe in order to increase understanding, open-mindedness, and tolerance of students in order to overcome different perspectives, narratives, and perception that are integral part of the Europe. So thank you very much.
Thanks to you very much for your presentation, for your also remember us about the values, a common feature on tolerance, respect, comprehension. So thank you very much for your presentation. And then we go directly to the third micro think tank report on mobility and connectivity and exchange, and Brett Dirksen from University of Milan. You have the floor, and remember, since you are from University of Milan, I can tell you directly 4 minutes, no more.
All right, thank you very much. So thanks everyone for this opportunity. I'd like to start by giving a big thanks as well to Roberto Cerbino, also from the University of Milan, and Christian Peterson from the University of Copenhagen for their efforts in collaboration. and also to our participants today for their great ideas. So the premise for our think tank was written here. A key objective and promise of 4U Plus is the mobility and circulation of both ideas and people, students, academics, and staff. Unfortunately, the coronavirus pandemic has forcefully demonstrated that such free movement cannot be taken for granted. Digital technologies allow for ways to connect and collaborate without physical movement. What can be a good mix of forms of mobility, connectivity, and exchange? What is gained by certain modes and what is lost? So we thought it was very crucial to start off with a solid definition of each of these terms, which were our three main themes. We had mobility, which is the ability to move physically between universities; connectivity, which is the state of being or being able to be connected to both people and the internet; and exchange is an act of giving and receiving knowledge, information, skill, support, opportunities, and culture, among other things, of course. So then with these three definitions in mind, we split out into 6 breakout rooms with 2 rooms per topic. And then afterwards, we all grouped back together, and each breakout room sort of presented what they had discussed. I think the prevailing opinion was that physical mobility is better than virtual mobility for several reasons. 2 of the more prevalent reasons were that it's more difficult to form connections to people when working virtually, but also that cultural exchange is compromised. So with this in mind, I mean, it was quite obvious that physical mobility is a better one. So how can we bridge the gap and improve virtual mobility? A lot of great ideas came out. One of the prevalent ones was that we can provide a variety of alternative teaching methods, such as small groups. Small groups are preferred because they foster more interaction than in large groups. And this increases the connectivity between students as well as between students and the professor. Buddy programs and exchange programs were also mentioned. Exchange programs were between students of various universities, as well as between students and professors, as well as between professors and administrative staff and so on. And then the last one, which I thought was interesting, was turn the camera on. For lecturers, it can be difficult to present a course when most of the lecture is just a blank screen. Most often, students don't turn on their cameras, which can make it more difficult for professors to actively work. But one thing that we also found important is that virtual mobility also has its own benefits. So maybe it's not always about trying to replicate the physical mobility experience. One of the unique benefits of physical mobility is that it may be more favorable for some students who aren't comfortable or aren't able to do the physical mobility. And it also provides a unique skill set for which people can use in the future. Learning how to collaborate online in English with people from other countries can provide a lot of useful experience, especially for those who will work in international companies and who'll meet a lot of colleagues in the future in this way. And it also allows professors the opportunity to experiment and get creative with the teaching modalities, not just with the small rooms, but in a variety of ways as well. So I think 2 of the take-home messages that we had were about balance and flexibility. So obviously right now and going forward, there's going to be a balance between virtual and physical learning. It's kind of a fact, so we have to optimize it as much as possible while trying to highlight the unique features. By optimizing virtual learning, we can move forward with a blend that may be better than either of them on their own. Comfort and discomfort is also really important. This was brought up from one of our breakout rooms that, especially considering the cameras, I mean, even going into a breakout room, you might be a bit uncomfortable at first, but once you get talking and involved, you take more away from the experience overall. I think in the same vein, students might prefer to keep some of their own home and stay at home and keep their camera off, but true growth only comes from discomfort ultimately, which is why a lot of people choose to do mobility in the first place. And flexibility as well, synchronous and asynchronous courses. Synchronous can be done either virtually or in person, while asynchronous courses are largely done virtually. So we need to keep an open mind going forward. And yeah, lastly, with any luck, when it's all said and done, it'd be nice to have a meet and greet because nothing can truly replace physical gatherings. and hopefully next year we'll be able to have this meeting in person. Thank you very much.
We all hope, thanks to you, we all hope that, Brett. But of course, 1 year ago, when we start speaking about virtual, couldn't imagine how important it was nowadays. So thank you to all of us. I will leave the floor for a few comments from Joanna Osieczewicz. Joanna, are you there?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for this very informative reports. I think it is highly important to emphasize the interdisciplinarity of all the considerations and the integration of a number of very different approaches. In order to achieve such integration, it is first of all absolutely necessary that academics and students specializing in these areas and representing actually all sorts of fields and disciplines are able to cooperate. And thanks to such creative and open cooperation, it will be highly possible to identify even other areas that deserve to be included in the research and education in the future. So in this way, the 4EU Plus contributes significantly to building a barrier-free area in research and innovation. And this in turn will support even more internationalization of future research and research-based education. So thank you very much once again for your great input. Thank you.
Thank you. It was excellent. We are sorry all those who were not present during your debates, and we know now that this is also the way how to continue. 4EU Plus was formed 3 years ago nearly, and the work is concentrated on the work of flagships. The flagships were introduced and their work explained at the beginning by the rector of Charles University, and I would like to ask Serge Bdidat, the Vice President International from Sorbonne University and member of Management Committee, to present our success stories. Thank you.
Thank you, Lenka. Good afternoon to everyone. It was a very refreshing session, so we are going to follow on with the synergy between research and education. As you might know, because it's very strong in our mission statement, 4EU Plus is grounded on a long and profound tradition for connecting research and education. This seems obvious, but there were comments that European universities fit well into the education area, but are less suited to research cooperation. So our 4 flagships are the core of the 4EU Plus integration between research and education, and we are very pleased to hear from them about how they started to address this challenge. So we are going to listen to 4 examples of success stories in our flagship. We'll start with flagship number 1. So I will right away hand over to Björg, who is going to talk about flagship number 1 in 4EU Plus.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be with you here from Copenhagen, and today it's in my position as the project manager of the new initiative under 4EU Plus, Urban Health Case Challenge. It's upcoming, starting next Monday, and the topic will be community resilience. And sorry, not a surprise, but this will be in times of COVID-19, this first time in 2020. Next slide, yes. I'll just take you up in the helicopter and just talk a little about the purpose of all this, and align with other activities under 4EU Plus. We're hoping to advance ways of learning and teaching based on research, and we want to create a network, strengthen networks between students, faculty, and partners outside our academic towers. And well, at the end of the day, honestly, the idea is to build capacities so that we can address the emerging health-related challenges in our complex societies across Europe. Thank you. Next slide, please. So bringing you closer to ground, we are thinking with the Urban Health Case Challenge format. It is like the hackathon a previous speaker mentioned. It's also called case competition. It's team-based, and it's based on challenges from the outside, from the real world, posed by agents here. And the students get an opportunity to practice teamwork and project management and time management. Always limited time we have, strict deadlines. You need to pitch your solutions, persuade the juries to let you win, and then, well, collaboration in all different ways. And this time, well, it's online competencies we will be practicing a lot. And so it's all about working with innovations and, like mentioned before, overall also networking, strengthening collaborations. Thank you. Next slide. So even closer to ground, I'm like in the engine rooms this day, polishing details to make this happen. We're starting on Monday. We will be 70 students, divided in 5 members in each team, 14 teams, and 8 cities, because we've actually invited 2 other cities on board, Nordic partner universities, Uppsala in Sweden and Trondheim University, NTNU in Norway. So we have 8 European countries, representatives from 8 cities, sharing challenges and solutions to COVID-19 related questions. We will work with Gale. It's an urban research and design firm based in Copenhagen, working all over the world. They will provide the case and the case question. I'm sorry, I can't really reveal the question, only Monday the 23rd, but you know the heading, so you are there with us. It's the challenge is hosted by University of Copenhagen this year, strongly supported by an organizing committee with representatives from all the other partner universities. Like everybody else, when we prepared the concept, we were assuming all the students would be with us here for a full week in Copenhagen. We revised halfway through, changed it to blended format, hoping the teams would be working on ground and in person in each city and able to interact and reach out to citizens and stakeholders locally. But I think in most places this will also be online this time. So, sorry, just a few words. We have a jury also with the faculty represented from our universities, the case provider also, and we have a city director from Mannheim with us. Thank you. Next, yes. So quick words about the future. We're hoping this will be an annual event. The host will be rotating so we can learn from each other and build capacities for this format at all 6 partner universities. And well, hopefully soon we can facilitate mobility in the old-fashioned way again, but there are also gems in online collaboration. We're learning this, but just to strengthen mobility, and that it should be a part of the curriculum in due course. Only in a few, at few universities, this has succeeded this year, but very soon it should be integrated in the curriculum. The next and last slide, I want to just end off and invite you all to the presentation of the solutions. They will take place next Friday, and there's a link here to the webinar. I don't know if the slides here are linked, but everyone's most welcome. And I mean, let's hope at least they get a few new ideas they can bring with us this next generation. Yeah. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thanks a lot, Björg. Looking forward, we'll be there to listen to you on Friday. Thanks a lot. It's always very good to listen to very concrete outcome of the flagships. Let's move now to flagship number 2. This is a report from Varam. I know this is a video, so let's watch the video. It should come. It's coming, I'm sure. We are live, so we have to address, you know, unexpected situation which we are used to now. I'll give them another 10 seconds. Otherwise, we'll move to flagship number 3. If we are not ready with the video, I suggest that maybe, oh yeah, the video is here.
For this opportunity to present our project, the Cooperative Network Filotrans. We're partners from 7 departments of 5 universities: Sorbonne, University Paris, Milan, Prague, Warsaw, and Heidelberg. And we're coming from departments of translation studies and modern language philologies. That's why it's called Filotrans. So what are we doing? We're trying to, or we already created an innovative academic cooperation network to generate shared educational offer for students of both sides, of foreign language departments and translation studies, guaranteeing a high-quality research-based education through joint modules based on jointly defined competencies from both fields and aiming to flexible 4-year plus joint degrees. Why are we doing this? So there are 2 important reasons. One, we're compatible in our programs because our students are generally highly proficient in at least one foreign language. So with this competence, this element in every study program. On the other side, we're also very complementary. On one side, we have technology and specialized translation with applied linguistics. On the other side, in the foreign language philologies, we have cultural texts, media communication, creativity, so creative texts. And bringing together these competences will also open for our students opportunities on both sides. What do we want to do, or what are we doing already? We're created an online course offer from all partners and for all partners. That would be a permanent institution offering the possibility of online mobilities for our students between 5 universities and 7 departments. Then we're working right now to define competences which will be generally required in our common work. And then we'll be creating, based on these competences, 4-year plus modules, which will be integrated and accepted in every study program of our departments. And at the end, the long-term goal is to create flexible 4-year plus joint degrees on BA and MA level. Where are we right now in the winter term 2020? So I already told us we started with an online offer from Warsaw University with 6 courses open for all partners and all students potentially, and from University of Heidelberg with 5 courses. I would like to highlight only 3 of these. The first one is the use of Corpora in foreign language teaching. It's an important topic in foreign language teaching to have the access to a big corpora of authentic texts and to have methods to use it in the language teaching. The other, interlingual live subtitlings for access, course on live subtitlings and speech-to-text interpreting. So this is an important topic in the media communication, and that will be giving our students also competences in this field, in a situation where online communication is becoming even more important. And on our side at the University of Heidelberg, I would like to mention the course in translation technologies. There are different tools and methods to use translation technologies. So to find the balance between human translation and translation with the use of machines is taught. And now you can see again these 3 points: high proficiency in the foreign language, creativity, media, culture, and technology, translation technologies coming together to create better chances for our students in the academia and on the market. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. I believe this is very typical of what we do within flagship number 2. And because of time constraints, I will suggest to hand over directly to flagship number 3. Miroslav, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm ready here. I hope you can hear me. So,
very well.
Minister, Rectors, Excellencies, I'm really very happy to be here and to be able to present something like that. That is, I would say, practical realization of the principles, of the basic principles that were quoted here many times. For instance, our rector said strong involvement of students into teaching, education, research without barriers. So here I would like to present one example of that, of the line we are going forward, and this is joint master degree in mathematics and applications. So background I would like to quote here is one of the central objectives of our project is collaboration in higher education, and as I mentioned, it was more times presented here from various sides. In fact, if I consider all the speeches that were given here, so we are converging to the same goal, and I'm happy for that. So features of the shared approach: challenge-based. The challenge-based joint master degree, it should address key challenges and problems that our societies are facing. It's, in some sense, we concentrate on something, so it's math and applications. On the other hand, we believe that a lot of challenges that we have are connected with that. Student-centered. Student-centered is a second point, allowing and encouraging students to develop their personalized learning pathways to that. Knowledge centers, understanding learning as research, and I would say also understanding research as learning. Both things together, one hand in hand. And competence-oriented, cultivating finally something that we could call competencies on the top of that and additional skills. So please, next slide. Yes. Composition. So this is the formal composition of the project, but I would like to say that it seems to me that in development of all of these things, there is something like I could call team spirit of all of these things, contributing from more sides and trying to see that it's developing something that surpasses us. So academic fields, education, we are starting from, we are people doing mathematics applications involved in the field that are quoted here, mathematical modeling, scientific computing, and we are trying to put together everything with applications, many different applications. Our partners are quoted here, universities from 4U+, Charles University, Heidelberg, Sorbonne, University of Warsaw, and of course, we have some funding. I would here it's maybe only to remind that our activities were online and we were able to make them online. That was very good. Of course, when going to practice, it would be very good to assume that the situation would change. Thank you. So next slide, please. And here I would like to remind the general structure. So we are talking about joint master studies, and we have some plans how to do that. Of course, practice is something that gives final recognition for that. But on the other hand, we have a plan first year in institution number 1, and it should compose from more or less mandatory courses, and second year in institution number 2. So we really expect there should be some mobility, reasonable mobility, and we hope we will be allowed to have a reasonable amount of that. One thesis, 2 supervisors, going into that, trying to combine knowledges, and we would like to, around that, to have more institutions. For instance, one of those that I would like to remind here is common student schools. Current and next steps. We are, this is what we have. We are in some status, and we would like to, we make plans. And if I would like to say so, when doing such things, we need to pilot project to see that what we are planning is really something that can be done. And we have a pilot teaching project that's called, it's written here, reaction diffusion equations, based mainly on the contribution of University of Heidelberg. And we are in train of preparation of courses of the list of courses for students. We really would like to combine our activities and make joint list and preparing co-teaching, not only within these 4 universities, about other universities from this 4EU+. So that's from my side all, and thank you for attention.
Thanks a lot, Miroslav. Indeed, those are pilots, but if unsuccessful, we expect them to become sustainable, obviously. Thanks a lot. So let's move to the last flagship. Vit is going to give a short presentation.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, good afternoon to everyone. I have to say that it's my really big pleasure to have the opportunity to present here our topic, what is extension of competencies and knowledge-based education of natural hazards and environmental change. We prepared this topic in cooperation with Heidelberg University and Milano University. And what is the main objective? It is to extend trilateral cooperation in the educational process at master and PhD level, focus on sharing competencies in modern analytical methods and complementary technologies in the research of impact of environmental change and associated possible natural hazards. What are the project outcomes? So we plan to prepare intensive field courses in advanced technologies. Second, collaborative seminars led by hosting professor with future-oriented topics. Later, workshops with public interest and fieldworks to support the active learning. And beside this, we also would like to create up to now missing bilateral Erasmus agreements, I mean directly between Charles University and Milano and Heidelberg and Milano, because between Milano and Heidelberg, between Prague and Heidelberg, it already exists. Next slide, please. So how can we reach the sustainability? We hope that it could be done by implementation of English taught courses into study plans of partner universities and establishing conditions for joint supervision of master and PhD thesis, something like Cotitel, etc. What are the innovative activities? Teaching experiences and research skills on a wide range of methods will be usable in environmental change and natural hazards, and students will benefit from physical mobility and research at each university, which cover diverse environments, I mean really from high mountain areas to the arid regions. What is the plan? The plan is to prepare an interdisciplinary set of competencies and skills from different specialization of our science, I mean physical geography, engineering geology, and geoarchaeology. What is the timeline? For this school year, we plan to start with workshops. One topic will be about natural hazards in mountain areas here in Prague for March. The second one will be in the topic of digital geoarchaeology in Heidelberg for April. We also plan to prepare one joint field course for students on the topic of slope stability hazards in alpine areas. This should be for May to June and prepared by Milano. And in both years, we plan to prepare short-term visits, certainly for students and also for the academic staff, for our partners, and adaptation of study plans to include new courses organized by partner universities. And for the second year, there will be another workshop prepared in Prague, impact of climate change on the environment. And next one will be in Milan, characterization of soil and rock mechanical and hydrogeological properties. Beside this, another joint field course will be prepared by Heidelberg University on the topic Advanced Geomorphology, application of geophysical, geodetic, and sedimentological methods in river catchment. And again, short-term visit and study plans. Thank you for your attention, and that's all from my side. Thank you.
Well, thanks a lot again. Those 4 flagships are really instrumental with respect to the impact that we would like to have regarding the advancements of research, education, and dialogue with the society. So we are very pleased to see that now they are fully deployed, and I would like to thank the 4 speakers for this exercise of being very concise in the presentation. So this being said, thanks again, and I will hand over to, I guess, Lanka for the last part of the journey. Thanks a lot.
Serge and friends, now I will end this session, and thank you very much for discussing the topic of the synergy between research and education with reports from all 4 flagships. Thank you very much. If I look into chat, there is no questions, maybe a little bit later. And now we will move to the last part of our annual meeting. It is a roundtable discussion, which is discussing all issues and also research education. I will start with some opening words. Dear guests from the Commission, dear colleagues, dear students, topic of synergy between research and education laid the foundation of 4U Plus Alliance 3 years ago. It was the way how the Alliance was founded and started. Its activities with developing nearly 100 research teams clustered in the form of flagships. We have heard about their development, objectivities, and success story. One was showing us during these days from all flagships. European University Alliances are considered as a test bed for innovation in research and education, pioneering the universities for future creating, for instance, European degrees and other new ideas, which will be born in the alliances, all type and all in the Europe. The main target group for research and education are students, and they have to be active participants included in the whole education and research process as well. I propose that each participant of the roundtable give a short statement connected to with his/her portfolio, I think few minutes. And after that, you may pose the question among the panelists, and the second round will give a floor to the participant of the webinars and or YouTube or chatting during the meeting. The topics agreed were the European University Alliances play a role of a laboratory for the synergy between the research and education. The allying of EU founding programs can help the synergy between the research and education, and students must be involved in research and education at all levels of their studies. And now I would like to warmly welcome and introduce Vanessa Dibier-Santon, head of the Unit Higher Education, the mother of the European Alliances in the Europe. Vanessa.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be all of you today and to be able to listen to the achievements, impressive achievements, I must say, after only 1 year. So it's fantastic to hear, for example, that more than 300 students have been involved so far in more than 80 joint projects involving more than 300 staff, and despite all the difficulties that we know due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So congratulations to all of you. You have listened to our commissioner, Maria Gabriel. She announced, she explained our objective to achieve a European education area by 2025 in a communication that she presented on the 30th of September. And you may have seen that there is a full chapter on higher education. So higher education is very high on the political agenda. Why? Well, for the reasons that all the ambassadors explained before, because higher education has a key role to play for the recovery of Europe, but also to train the new generations on these twin digital and environmental transitions of the society, how to best prepare them for that, and also to best train them to find the solutions of all the societal challenges that you mentioned. And the 4 flagships represent many of these key challenges that Europe and the world are facing. So for this, higher education globally needs to transform across Europe, as much as you've started to do and as much as you have shown it a moment ago. So we need for that, in this transformation, to take the lessons from the COVID-19 pandemic to build a new norm, a new way of teaching, of learning, and of doing research. And these, for example, by being much more connected as you are through this alliance, and also fostering both inclusion and excellence. And so, as our commissioner announced it, we're going to co-create this higher education agenda for transformation in the coming year, so that we can present it next year. And this is joint to work with my colleague Apostolia Karamaili. Hello, Leah, as we want with this transformation agenda to cover the 4 missions of higher education institutions, of course, education and training, but also research and innovation, and all this at the service of society. And for any vision, we need role models. And you, for EU+, you are one of these role models together with the other European universities. You have already started this transformation. I was very pleased to see the different flagships and also the reflection from the students on what they expect as well. So I was very much pleased to hear to this student-centered learning, to the challenge-based approach, etc. And these includes as well, of course, research-based learning and how to involve students in research as early as possible, as from the bachelor level, and then continue in different levels so that they can develop their critical thinking, analytical skills, and creativity skills, as Jean Chambaz mentioned before, to develop open and sharp minds. And all this in a transnational and transdisciplinary context, following a challenge-based approach. So, as you mentioned, Tomasz, so we have as well announced a number of initiatives to support this transformation with the creation of a European degree. We will explore together with Leah a possible European legal statute for university, and I've seen that you're going to explore that as well. Other European universities are exploring different models. So altogether, we will have many opportunities to discuss that and developing it together. We are working as well on modernizing quality assurance systems. And as our commissioner announced it, we are working on a European approach to micro-credentials to reinforce the role of higher education in upskilling, reskilling, and in continuous learning more generally. And last but not least, we will work as well on the Council recommendation for education on environmental sustainability. So I was very pleased to listen to one of your flagship on sustainability this afternoon. So I will stop there because you asked us to be very short, but I will be pleased to ask further questions in a moment. Thank you.
Vanessa, thank you. Thank you very much for your kind words, and we will be in touch and believe that it's sharing the experiences also between the units in Brussels will be fruitful for the future. And now I would like to ask Apostolia Karamaili, Head of Unit of Academic Research, Innovation and Research Organization. We are together on the Coimbra group meeting today. It's between 2 and 4, and Apostolia, floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear students, dear followers from YouTube, excellencies, magnificent rectors. I'm also very honored and enthusiastic to be here. to share and listen to all these thoughts and all this exemplary alliance, the 4EU Alliance. I'm particularly pleased to see your sustainable approach towards the future and to learn all these important findings that all of you presented, from rectors until students, and about the way forward and the synergies. As Vanessa already explained, synergies, of course, is high on the political agenda. This was announced also by our commissioner. Together with the education package, the college adopted also a policy document on the future of the European research area and the future of research and innovation, placing a lot of importance on the higher education sector as well. The higher education sector is a very important participant to the framework programs. It is the backbone of the research and innovation system, and therefore the political message from the Commission was the importance to continue working towards underpinning the institutional transformation of the sector in full synergy with education. And therefore, when it comes to the European Universities initiative, we're fully in cooperation under the lead of Vanessa in developing and co-creating the future, as Vanessa already explained. So this is, let's say, the policy context. At the same time, from a research perspective, it is important to keep the global leadership, the global competitiveness, the excellence, advancing Europe together, making sure that Europe is an attractive destination for talent, to attract talent towards Europe. So all these elements are very important and definitely are part of all this discussion and debate about the way forward and the synergies between research and education, and how, working hand in hand with these two important pillars, we can build the future of Europe together, centered on knowledge and underpinning democratic values in our society. As has been already flagged by many and also by Vanessa earlier on, synergies is, I would say, I would like to concur that synergies is a matrix between a deep institutional transformation of the sector, and at the same time keeping up with the key challenges, key disciplinary challenges that we have for the future. And I'm pleased to see that the flagships that you have reported earlier on, all the findings of the flagships that you have reported earlier on, in fact, corresponds to the key challenge that the Union has identified for next generation, for the recovery plan for Europe, in particular the digital transition, health, the transition towards the Green Deal, and making sure that we address the climate challenges for our planet. So all these elements are important to take into account when thinking about all this evolution that we want to see and the transformation that we want to see in the future. And I would like here to thank very much many of you who have actually contributed in our consultation so far, helping us identifying some elements of this institutional transformation. And if I think in particular of research, just to complement what Vanessa was saying earlier on, we have identified a number of transformation areas together with you in a co-creation way, which actually build these bridges between education and research. For example, the need for common research agendas actually can underpin the research-based learning and teaching, the increased attention on human capital, be that researchers, academic staff, or students, and making sure that we promote diversification of careers, focus on entrepreneurship and innovation in addition to based learning. These are important elements that can build bridges between the two. The cooperation between academia and business, making sure that we address the labor market challenges and preparing the jobs of the future for our students. Better access to research infrastructures to optimize the opportunities, the digital transformation and open science practices. These are just some examples I'm using here just to trigger, let's say, the discussion. So all these elements, to conclude on my point, all these elements actually are really very well exemplified in the 4EU Alliance. and the complementary projects that you have set up, because indeed you address both the institutional part and also you apply it to flagship areas, which correspond to very important challenges. So I really look forward to continue working with you for co-creating the next steps, as Vanessa announced. And I'm very pleased to be with you today and honored. Thank you very much.
Apostolia, thank you very much for kind words. And also I mentioned that after the presentation, we have a time for discussion. And now I would like to ask Bernard Eitel, Director of Heidelberg University. Bernard.
Thank you, Tomasz. Good evening, everybody. Excellency Duterte, I'm very pleased that you have such an elan to stay together over the whole day since this morning and a long and even longer afternoon. It's a pleasure for me to give you a short insight in research-oriented teaching and learning, and what we are thinking in Heidelberg about that. We think in a tradition of more than 200 years, going back to Wilhelm von Humboldt, that research and academic teaching are two sides of one medal. So they belong together. That's the first. The second one is that research and research-oriented teaching need academic freedom. And I will explain why. Academic freedom means that researchers and students following researchers must be provided by good infrastructures. They must have direct access to the infrastructure and to research projects. And they should be accompanied by highly motivated teachers, academic teachers. You can find all this only in a community, in an academic community, which is free, because you don't know in research projects what's the outcome of your efforts. And therefore, the free access to this learning procedure, learning understood as a searching for the new, even if it's more or less consolidated knowledge, but for the students, it is new. That means that you train your curiosity-driven research, your own research, step by step in the bachelor programs till the master programs as PhD student or a young researcher till a complete senior researcher and an individual going out of the university, staying in research institutions and so on. And these both sides of the same medal, I often describe it as a contract between generations, because research-oriented teaching means not only that well-experienced seniors train young scientists and students, because they benefit directly of the curiosity of the complex questions they raise to the teachers. And therefore, it's a permanent process without a typical well-formulated goal or aim of the whole procedure within universities. So it's a contract between generations. And this contract in itself is a guarantee that academic freedom produces itself. It's a very resilient system, because it is built on two pillars, on the young and the experienced over about 50 to 70 years. That's the reason why university survived from medieval times until today. And together with the church or the churches, it's the only European institution which survived revolutions, catastrophic situations, disasters, social disasters, as well as natural hazards. So a university in itself is a stable process, an academic community based on two very big and resilient pillars. And therefore, I think we should discuss, and we can discuss, how we can optimize it. And we should defend the European University as a European discovery. The European University has been developed in European context. And I'm deeply convinced that the European university role model, which is not the same as in other countries and other parts of the world, that the European role model of what is a European university has to be defended and has to be exported over the world. I'm deeply convinced that European universities, as well as the 4U Plus consortium, can support this idea, can promote it within Europe, can increase and can enhance the awareness of this European role model. And we should understand that it is directly not only addressed, it addresses not only learning or teaching, it addresses this contract between generations, which we call research-oriented teaching. So that's perhaps, these are some sentences to trigger a discussion. And I think that it's worth to rethink research-oriented teaching and research also in European context. Thank you very much. I hand back to Thomas.
Bernard, thank you very much for your comments and ideas and vision to the future. And now I like to ask Rector of Copenhagen University, Henrik Wegener. Henrik.
Thank you, Thomas. I recognize we're a little bit late in the day, so I will be very brief. I could be so brief as to say I agree with Bernard and then leave it with that, but I will add a few more words. I firmly believe that every new generation should receive a better education than the previous generation. That's the only way to advance society. Better society depends on better education, and every generation needs to get a better education than the previous. And this is what we're striving for now. And I actually think it is a little bit of a unique time that the Commission have now decided that we should fully explore the synergies between the education area and the research area. So thank you very, very much for that. I've been very much like most of us involved in research over the last number of decades. I won't say how many, but I can only say that certainly the quality, excellence of the European research has improved tremendously thanks to, you could say, the very competitive nature of the programming of research and the increased attention of universities and faculty on research. But it has been and is still a very competitive endeavor, and it also has the risk of creating some kind of tunnel vision for our faculty and also, you could say, in part for our institutions who get obsessed with rankings and what have you. It's time to pause. It's time to return to what Bernard said, the Humboldtian ideal, how to ensure that create and maximize the synergy between excellent research and excellent education and teaching. So thank you very much to the Commission for reminding us what we were always aware, but we are of course very happy to take your, you could say, challenge upon us, especially if you also will help us both at the national level and at the European level to also at the policy level make sure that this synergy is supported as much as possible, and ideally, of course, also that funding flows towards those who really do create these synergies, who do make radical new moves and try to reinvent and further improve what we are already doing quite well in the European higher education arena. So I'm very happy to be part of this European University Network. I think we can deliver something truly unique. And I hope now that we have the Commission with us today, that you will also take inspiration from what you have heard. And I look forward to our continued discussion.
Henrik, thank you so much for your view and ideas. And now I would like to ask the students' representative for their opinions, ideas, suggestions. And first, I would like to ask Mike Gudenbergsen from Copenhagen University. Mike.
Thank you so much for the word. I would like to start by declaring myself in complete agreement with the previous speakers. It's hard not to, so there's that. And then perhaps to take the discussion a bit more in a student perspective. As a student and as a student of political science, perhaps especially, I'm very well aware that we as students are an active part of the lifespan of very old, centuries-old university institutions, and we are here for a limited time and have a limited time to make an impact on the governance structures and on the inner workings of the universities and moving forward university alliances such as 4U+. As such, I am of the strong opinion that to make possible the best combination and synergy between research and education, it is of the utmost importance to include all relevant actors and natural users and givers of teaching and research in the discussions. So that being said, I'm very happy to hear that it has been decided to increase the amounts of student representatives, for example, in the Academic Council of 4U+. I believe this is very much so a move in the right direction. We need to strengthen the participation of students and teachers in the discussions of the 4U+ governance structure, and in this case regarding research and education and the synergy of the two. So I'm sure that we have great potential in the international cooperation between the University Alliance members of 4U+, and I'm looking very much forward to taking part in shaping the best possible synergy between research and education on our universities.
Mike, thank you for your talk. And now I like to ask Julia Kostro from Warsaw University. Julia.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy that I can say something from my perspective as a student of University of Warsaw. I believe that all the previous speeches from the other panelists I can totally agree with them. But I think we should also look into the pandemic, which exposed how fragile is the education and research area. The problems within the education and research at our universities force us to focus on our development in digitalization of courses and researches. I think that it also allowed us our alliance to speed up the online communication and our involvement in the alliance. So basically, I think that further digitalization of education and research should be our #1 priority to overcome possible future problems. And I believe that as universities of the 4U+ Alliance, we'll be able to achieve that together, but we need to involve also students in this. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia, for your words. And now I like to ask Béranger Poncet from Sorbonne University. Béranger.
Good evening, everyone. I am Béranger Poncet, the student representative of Sorbonne University. It's a pleasure for me to be with you today. Thank you all for the organization of this meeting and for your intervention. I will probably repeat many things we already said. I know it's difficult as being a graduate student doesn't necessarily make the world of research clearer. However, there are many possibilities to increase the knowledge about research, training programs, MOOC, meeting, classes. The synergy between research and education has to be as close as possible to students because they are the future PhD. We know students do less research. The objective is therefore to fight against the decrease in the attractiveness of research in order to promote the PhD by opening it up to Europe within the Alliance. This morning, I participated at the micro think tank group about the claim of synergy between research and learning in 4-year+. Jonathan made a great resume. Any university managed to make a great synergy between learning and research. We identified several issues, sometimes the same in each university, sometimes not. The issues are different according to the curricula, the doctoral school, the subject, the city, the university. Some practice can evolve the synergy and needs to be developed. We must focus our work on 2 priorities: communication from bachelor through MOOCs, meetings, student engagement about research, as well as about the Alliance. And the other priorities is finance and support of PhD students. Many students don't pay attention to research because they haven't enough information. What I learned from this morning is that students must be at the center of the issue. This is a huge problematic within the Alliance, which is very relevant to develop. We won't be able to develop the synergy in the European space if it's not developed within our universities.
Bérenger, thank you for your vision and opinions. And now we are at the end of the first round, the mission, vision, and ideas of the panelists. And now I will open the discussion between the panelists and also between the participants who will put the question or sending through the webinar chat on Zoom or through the YouTube channel. Bernard has the first question. Bernard.
Yeah, thank you, Tomasz. We have quite wonderful opportunity this evening that politicians as well as the excellencies are following our discussion. So, and I want to stress once more what we discussed in the morning. The so-called European universities developed to consolidated legal entities in European context. And I believe that President Macron did not know and was not aware about which avalanche of developments he started, not only as universities in European context, but also for the European corporate spirit, which is transported by students as well as by researchers. Legal entities on a European scale offers to the executives in the European Union. It was the first time an executive influence on research and teaching, which is organized till now, which is organized on a national or, in the case of Germany, on a states level. So if we together, if we will play this game in a wide sense, we could create really big things, and we can steer a big vessel through European storms, because we are the first institutions with having a direct influence and a direct responsibility driven by political decision makers and decisions made by Brussels. And therefore, I think together with our students, we depend on research, or the whole system depends on research universities. And only research universities can provide an environment for students for research-oriented teaching. Both together produces an atmosphere for the next generation of researchers, which understand themselves not anymore as Germans, as French, as Danish, as Swedish, maybe Italians or even others, but as European researchers. So we are an executive tool for the politicians on a European scale to develop something new. And sometimes I have the impression that not the students, nor our scientists, nor the politicians can really or do really see and are aware of this fact. So research and research-oriented teaching are two instruments for a new political tool to provide in European context, a European research area and a European research-oriented space for the next generation of Europeans, which are the leading group for the future of our continent. And therefore, I'm deeply convinced, and I would like to address this dimension of research-oriented teaching and research. I want to address this dimension in particular because we are, I think so, we are now at a point where we can really mutually create something new in Europe, for Europe, and with Europeans of different generations. And that's directly in contrast to all our problems we see every evening in the news. We can read in our newspapers. Now we have a current in the European community, in the community of researchers, senior researchers, and young people to produce something new for Europe of the next generation. And that's for me research-oriented teaching. Research is not only driven by research institutions, maybe for cancer, for automotive industries, for innovation or something else. It's the fact that this Universitas, this model, which derives from medieval times till today, as a contract of several generations, creates something new for Europe and has a potential to renew Europe in itself. That's research-oriented teaching in this academic community, in academic freedom, and with a certain autonomy of the institution. All this belongs together to the benefit of Europe.
Bernard, thank you very much for the great ideas. That's research and research in leading universities immediately transfer for the young generation. It's a key story, and we believe that it will be supported. I don't know if Vanessa or Apostolia should shortly comment, or other ones from the panelists or attendees. Vanessa, yeah.
Yes, maybe I would like to react on academic freedom, highlighted by Bernard. We know that academic freedom is threatened in a number of countries, and it's quite alarming. So it will be highlighted extensively during the ministerial Bologna conference, which would take place in 3 days now, on the 19th of November. It's absolutely fundamental, and then Bernard, you explained it very well. So we are very happy actually that there was a group of not only countries and ministries, but also universities and student representatives who have developed a definition for academic freedom. Because if we want to be able to monitor it and to act on it, we need to have a common definition. This was missing so far. So now we are very pleased that normally we can expect this week the 48 ministers responsible for higher education to adopt this definition in academic freedom. And this will allow us, as part of the monitoring of the Bologna process, to monitor it and to be able to take action on it. So I think it's a good progress on that front. Now regarding research-oriented teaching, it was very interesting what was presented by Bernard, and I would have a question to say. yes, your group of research intensive universities have a key role to play towards this research oriented teaching for all students from all kinds of higher education institutions. And how do you see your role in providing this research oriented teaching not only to your fantastic students within your alliance, but how do you see, how could you contribute to all the students outside of your universities? And I liked very much what Henrik said, that a better society needs better education, that each generation should receive a better education. And here, my question for the students would be, how much did you see so far improvements in your university? And my question to all of you would be, what are the most problematic barriers that you see currently at national or European level? I don't know if we'll have time to tackle all these questions because it's already quite late, but we'll have maybe other opportunities to continue the discussions.
Yeah. Definitely, it's the last one thing, and it's maybe with short comments from students. If you asking, or Apostolia like to comment,
Yes, thank you very much. So first of all, just to thank also on my side for this inspirational message about the European role model in the global context. And just two additional remarks on my side. So regarding academic freedom, I would like to thank the German presidency of the EU for taking the initiative to prepare the Bonn Declaration. The research ministers had a very in-depth position in a debate on academic freedom and the importance of monitoring academic freedom and taking action at the European level as a backbone of the research and innovation. So now ahead of us, what we have is a co-creation process to see how we will actually unroll the new European research area. In particular, there has been discussion about the new Pact for Research and Innovation, summarizing the important values and principles that we share at European level so that this can become visible at global level, so that it can lead, as it was mentioned before. I was also pleased to see the comments regarding a more sustainable model for the future, a European identity based on a legal entity, because this is necessary in order to be able to convey all the benefits, especially to the next generation. And here I'm addressing to the students. So we have to look towards a very sustainable, long-term approach, especially also for the entity, in order to make sure that whatever decisions and measures we take that can influence the next generation can actually be sustainable also for them. And here I think that from the research side, there are important models that we can take into account for the future. Thank you.
Apostolia, thank you for the additional information from Brussels, and we believe that the German chairmanship of the European Union will be successful on it areas. And other comments or questions? I think that there is a no from chat and no from YouTube. I think we are on touch. Okay, Mike.
Yes, so perhaps I would just like to comment on Vanessa's question regarding specifically the experience as students and what improvements we are experiencing with regards to research-based education. I mean, it's difficult as a student, as I said earlier. We are at the overall level at the universities for quite a limited time, but it's my clear experience, and also talking to already graduated students of different ages, that there's a clear tendency towards specifically younger teaching staff, newly graduated PhDs and postdocs and professors of especially the young ages are more oriented naturally towards innovative and perhaps more research-based teaching, whereas in no way, no means to hurt or harm perhaps some of our older professors and teaching staff, but they are clearly academics from a different time, and that is completely fine, and their perspectives are as valuable as the new PhDs. But in regards to being creative and innovative with research-based education, it's our clear experience that we should look towards the younger teaching staff and let them lead the way and let them inspire the rest of the universities.
Yeah, it's for me as a physician, I say that I know some 40, 50 years old associate professor or professor which are mentally as 80 or 90 years old, and someone is 70 years old. It's as a very youngest and promoting some new structures, but I think that it's maybe the mental capacity for innovation, but it's a nice view from it, and I know that the panelists are smiling on it, and it's also it's mentioned and taking together in involvement of and also in evaluating the educational process and staff. Other comments or questions?
I'm sure that Mike will become major and major as well as we did in the past.
Yeah, Henrik?
Or maybe just a practical or technical comment, but actually being able to allow postdocs and PhDs to engage in teaching requires that external funders, whether they are public or private, permit that so that we are not contractually bound. So there are a lot of, let's say, technical barriers and issues that, going into further details, we should discuss when we try to enhance the synergy between the research funding programs in all their forms and shapes that are only growing in volume, and then our educational offerings from the university side. And it is a constant challenge to make sure that this increase in research truly benefits the students while also delivering, you could say, consistent degrees where, of course, there is at least a chance to meet the same lecturer more than once.
Thank you. Dear friend, dear colleagues, I not see the rising hands for, okay, Bernard.
Just a last hint. We with regard to our discussion, I think we have to fulfill the promises of the Bologna process as well.
Yeah.
Because the Bologna process meant bachelor, master, PhD.
Yeah.
And in most European countries, we forgot the PhD period. So because in the Bologna process, the research-oriented education from the freshmen at the beginning over the master students till the young researchers or doctoral students, doctoral researchers, as we say in Germany, this is one pathway, one track to the senior scientist. And thinking in Bologna means also not only training the students, it means involving them in the research processes within the universities. But this needs research projects in the universities. And step by step, we see more and more money is flowing outside of the universities in non-academic and non-university or extra university research institutions, which do know higher education and research-oriented teaching for the next generation. So I'm deeply convinced that we need more and more universities, not only our club or Liro universities and several else. We need more and more universities which are really research-oriented in the sense that we provide the track for the young students from the bachelor till the thesis at the end of their PhD time in the universities. And that means Bologna fulfilling the promises of Bologna with respect to research-oriented teaching, learning, and research-oriented career development for the young and the next generation. Thank you.
Bernard, I fully agree, and I think that it's if discussing about the research, I think it's fully implemented for PhD levels of education. But we must go with the research to the first steps as master and as a bachelor. For example, we have the grant agency on Charles University. It's only for application for students from master and PhD, not other one, to starting the project with a success rate is around 35%. There is no questions. We starting 8:45 as the rectors. We have the 9+ hours together on virtual meeting with some breaks. First of all, I would like to all participants of the roundtable discussion, how it's sharing and putting together research and education. Thanks Vanessa, thanks Apostolia, Bernard, Rector, Beranger, Mike and Julia. Thanks the ambassadors to joining us together, Isran Christoph, Alexis Duerte, Excelsis Nisio for Italy, also the representative of Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I saw now the Deputy Minister Kaiser, and thanks to discussion and some ideas, we will moving to our daily life. I would like to thank Jean Chambas, not only for his presidency of our alliance, but also, as I mentioned, Vanessa, it is the mother of European Universities Alliances. I mentioned that Jean Chambas together with Bernard, it is the father or fathers, because the idea starting in Sorbonne of European alliances and also our alliances for EU+, and thank you very much. I like to thank Lenka, Adela, Pavel, Christina, and other colleagues from our university to preparing this whole day meeting with different problems for the face-to-face meeting. I not read you the many which we are preparing for this dinner. If we will be face-to-face in Prague, it will be maybe a stressful meeting for you. But I believe the next time, and we will make some other arrangements to see together in Prague and have time to discussion together. We have the many ideas and also the topics which we must sort it out in the near future as our office, as a legal entity, and it is our period, and I believe that we will fulfill our ideas and our topics in the research and education. And it's 1 year in our hands in Prague, and next autumn we will forward it to Bernard and to Heidelberg University. Thank you, all of you. Enjoy the evening, good health, and see you face to face as soon as possible. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
And keep the European flag.
We have in a great aula. I know the flags in my office.
I enjoy the next Czech beer in Prague.
Definitely, you are anytime, Bernard.
See you, Thomas.
See you.
Bye bye.
See you. Bye. No,